It's hot. Why does it feel like I'm burning up? Charlotte Wint felt like she had been aimlessly walking in the desert for a very long time. All she wanted was to quench her thirst. A man's icy lips covered hers as he devoured her, giving her temporary respite from the heat. She reached out and flung her arms around his neck, sucking his lips greedily. Loud moans and pants soon resounded around the room. Their shadows on the wall opposite overlapped with a burning passion. As the light was dim, Charlotte couldn't see the man's face clearly. The only thing that occurred to her was how beastly he was in bed. He savagely took her until dawn. When dawn broke, he left. Charlotte opened her eyes in a daze. She saw a blurry image of a man's back and the vicious wolf head tattoo on the small of his back. It was a tattoo of a howling wolf with its jaw wide opened, like it was going to devour its prey any time. She felt her heart racing in fear at the sight of that tattoo. Charlotte had a dream. In it, she had turned into a vine that was entwined around a colossal tree, unable to break free. When she regained consciousness, her body was aching terribly. Charlotte sat up in bed with one hand on her head, trying to soothe her splitting headache. She saw the mess on the bed and a torn men's shirt on the ground. Freezing in shock, she racked her brains trying to remember last night's events. At her engagement party, her fiancé had betrayed her. She was on the verge of breaking down when her cousin, Luna White, brought her to sultry night to drink her sorrows away. Utterly wasted, she announced she wanted to take revenge on her fiancé. Luna immediately arranged a male escort for her. As last night's events hit her, Charlotte clutched her chest in shock. Oh God, I lost my virginity to a stranger. She grabbed her hair in frustration. After a long time, she finally snapped out of her trance and hurriedly put on her clothes. When she rushed out of the hotel, a bunch of reporters clamored around her. Accompanied by the blinding camera flashes were the reporters' harsh questions. Ms. Wint, is it true you spent the night with a male escort from sultry night because the Sterlings called off the engagement? Ms. Wint, are you aware that the male escort is a transvestite? Ms. Wint, did you know your father has gone bankrupt? Ms. Wint, we've just received news that your father had committed suicide. He jumped off his company's building. Charlotte's mind went blank as if she had just been struck by lightning. At once, she ran out but was knocked out cold by a car. The next morning, the headlines were ablaze with the news of Charlotte and her father. Richest man in H City, Richard Wint, goes bankrupt and commits suicide. Hector Sterling dumps daughter of Richard Wint. Charlotte Wint spends night at club with transvestite male escort. Both pieces of breaking news immediately made it to the headlines. Once a wealthy heiress, Charlotte became a despicable and immoral B*TCH overnight. She had lost everything from her family to her reputation. 10 months later, loud cries from bobbies could be heard in an unremarkable clinic in the countryside. Mrs. Barry held a baby in her arms as she rushed up to Charlotte elatedly. Miss, congratulations, you gave birth to triplets, 2 boys and a girl. 4 years later, at H City's train station, Charlotte arrived in the city with her kids and Mrs. Barry. The plump Mrs. Barry was holding 2 big pieces of luggage, heaving as she walked. Charlotte had a denim backpack slung on her shoulder as she squeezed out of the busy train station with her 3 kids. To others, they looked like a poor family from the countryside coming to the city to depend on their relatives. Out of my way, country bumpkin. A woman wearing a fur coat shoved Mrs. Barry away harshly and insulted her. Charlotte was about to reprimand that woman when a fleet of luxury cars came to a stop beside her. Before anyone could react, dozens of bodyguards alighted their vehicles and formed 2 neat rows. Giving a deep bow, they called out in unison, "Welcome back, Mrs. Sterling." Hearing the name Sterling, Charlotte glanced at the convoy and saw the Sterlings crest on the cars. Are they here for me? She grew excited at that thought. Could it be that Hector never betrayed me? Did he call off our engagement because he had no other choice back then? Now that he knows I'm back, he must be here to pick me up. Miss, is Mr. Sterling here to pick us up? A delighted Mrs. Barry was about to step forward when two bodyguards pushed them away rudely. In the next moment, a graceful woman dressed in expensive clothing walked out, flanked by an entourage. Charlotte's lips parted in surprise. Isn't this Luna White? Luna was clad in a designer suit. She looked more elegant than she was 4 years ago. Her fingers were curled around a little hand, belonging to a boy around the same age as Charlotte's triplets. Mrs. Sterling, Timothy, this way please. The bodyguards greeted them politely. I will never take the train again. It's filthy and full of commonalties, declared Luna, covering her nose with her handkerchief in disdain. Yes, yes. If it weren't for the weather, Mr. Sterling wouldn't have let you and Timothy suffer. The bodyguards escorted Luna and the little boy into a car. Both Luna and her son were so arrogant they didn't even glance around them. Thus, they failed to notice Charlotte in the crowd. What is going on? Mrs. Barry recognized Luna and blurted out. Isn't that your cousin? Is she married to Mr. Sterling now? I think so. As the Sterlings' convoy drove away, Charlotte recalled Hector's promise in the past. He said I'll be his only bride in this life. But now, he's married to my cousin. They even have a son this big. Tears prickled at Charlotte's eyes as her nose burned. Mommy, what's wrong? When the kids spotted Charlotte's red-rimmed eyes, all three of them surrounded her and voiced their concerns. I'm fine. Wiping her eyes dry, Charlotte knelt down and pulled the three of them in for a hug. Mommy, don't be sad. When I grow up, I'll buy a big car for you. Then you won't have to suffer anymore, offered her eldest son, Robbie. He thought she was upset because someone had bullied her. Mommy, who bullied you? Let me beat them up. Jamie, the second boy, waved his fists adorably and puffed up his cheeks. Ellie, the youngest of the triplets, rubbed her cheek against Charlotte and comforted her. Mommy, don't cry. Don't cry, don't cry. Suddenly, a green head poked out of Ellie's pocket. It belonged to a cheeky parrot that was glancing around curiously at this moment. No, I'm not crying. Charlotte inhaled sharply and put on a smile. Come on, let's go home. Yay, let's go. Charlotte gave them a kiss each before slinging the backpack over her shoulder again and heading out to hail a cab. She used to be a wealthy heiress with an entourage wherever she went, but now she had to queue up to hail a cab with Mrs. Barry and her kids, not to mention being heavily loaded with their baggage. As all of them couldn't fit in one cab, Mrs. Barry had to take a separate cab by herself. The sky was dark, signaling the arrival of a storm. Hopping to avoid it, the cab driver was speeding anxiously along the road when suddenly he rammed into a Rolls-Royce up ahead. The cab driver's face turned pale instantly and got down from his cab to check the situation. Charlotte sat in the passenger seat and looked out of the window, snapping her brows together. It was a limited edition Rolls-Royce Phantom. There were only 3 units in C Nation and 35 worldwide. Even if it were a minor scratch, the cab driver would have to compensate a substantial amount of money, which might cause him to go bankrupt. The conflict was going to be a hassle and would probably take a long time. Looking up, Charlotte noticed the sky had turned a gloomy gray. The storm was about to hit any time. She didn't want her kids to get soaked in the rain, especially Ellie, who had been physically weak since young. The little girl would definitely catch a cold if the rain got to her. Robbie, Jamie, Ellie, stay in the car. I'll go down and see what's happening, Charlotte told her children before getting off the cab. Mommy, be careful, the kids yelled out unanimously. Fifi, the parrot, poked its head out of Ellie's pocket again curiously. Ellie gave it a tiny snack and petted its fluffy head gently. Fifi, hold on tight, we'll be home soon. Sir, I'm sorry, I didn't hit your car on purpose. The cab driver was explaining nervously. It was the passenger's fault. She has 3 kids and a good deal of baggage. My cab is overloaded, so I accidentally bumped into your car. When he saw Charlotte, he immediately pointed at her. You're responsible for this. Huh, why? Charlotte was about to retort when the window of the Rolls-Royce rolled down. Forget it, the president is busy. The man seated in the passenger seat spoke as he swept a glance over Charlotte. Yes. The man in suit nodded and told the cab driver to drive carefully next time before leaving. Charlotte gazed instinctively at the backseat of the Rolls-Royce when the driver opened the door. To her surprise, she saw a half-naked man with his back to her. A snarly wound snaked across his back as blood trickled down onto the wolf head tattoo on the small of his back. Wolf head tattoo, the wolf head tattoo. Charlotte's eyes widened in disbelief. She stared at the tattoo wordlessly as her heart jumped to her throat. The ferocious wolf was gazing at her, its eyes stained bright red by the man's blood, looking ever so bloodthirsty. It's him. It really is him. Move out of the way. The cab driver gave Charlotte an abrupt push, causing her to topple to the ground. When she looked up again, the Rolls-Royce had disappeared from sight. Charlotte felt her head buzzing as she stared at the empty road ahead. Was that him in the car just now, the kid's father? Wasn't he a gigolo at sultry night? Why was he in that expensive car with that horrible wound? Hey, why did you push my mommy? Jamie waved his fists angrily at the cab driver. Brat, stop yelling at me. If it weren't for you, I wouldn't have gotten this unlucky, cursed the cab driver. You were the one speeding before hitting that car. That's none of our business, Robbie retorted in his bubbly voice. As your passengers, we're not responsible for your mistake. You violated the traffic law. We can file a complaint against you. Yes, you bullied Mommy. I will ask the police to arrest you. Ellie pouted furiously and pointed at someone in the middle of the road. There's a traffic police. Fifi, who was perched on her shoulder, chirped out instantly. Traffic police, traffic police. What a nuisance. Get off. I refuse to bring you to your destination anymore. The cab driver proceeded to open his trunk and threw their baggage in the middle of the road, before leaving in a huff. Hey, how could you? Charlotte picked up her baggage clumsily and brought the kids to the side of the road. Meanwhile, the man in the backseat of the Rolls-Royce, Zachary Nacht, looked up and glanced at the rearview mirror. That woman looks familiar. Where have I seen her before this? Mr. Nacht, I'll inject the anesthetic now, said the doctor who was dealing with his wound. No need. The man was reading a file in his hand. His wound was bleeding profusely, but he wasn't bothered at all. This may sting a little then. I'm going to stitch your wound up. Frowning, the doctor started stitching the wound up. As there was no anesthetic involved, the doctor was more nervous than usual. The man's tanned skin glinted under the light icily. His muscles contracted from the immense pain, but his expression remained the same. On Monday morning, Charlotte sent the kids to kindergarten with Mrs. Barry before she went to Divine Corporation. For the past few days, she had blasted her resume out to 35 companies. 17 of them called her for an interview, but they either rejected her or asked her to wait for their decision. Only one company offered her a job, the legendary Divine Corporation. Strange. The SMEs didn't want to hire me, but why did the corporate giant in the industry, Divine Corporation, call me instead? When she arrived at the HR department, she finally realized whose plan it was. It's you. Long time no see, miss. Wesley Holt greeted her with an evil smile. You're still pretty after all these years. Wesley Holt, my father fired you from Wint Corporation and left orders that you are not to step into H City for the rest of your life. How dare you return? Charlotte knew who he was. Wesley used to be the vice president of Wint Corporation. He tried to take advantage of her, so Richard fired him. She never thought she'd see him again after 4 long years. The Wint family is over the hill. Do you think you're still the rich heiress? Wesley snickered. You're nothing. I am the one who gives you this job. Giving him a glare, Charlotte spun on her heels and left. Charlotte, this is your final chance. If you walk out from this door, I guarantee you won't find a job in H City unless you are willing to become a hostess in a bar, Wesley uttered arrogantly. Furious, Charlotte stormed out of his office. I will never give in to someone like him. When she exited the building, a crowd had formed at the entrance. There was a middle-aged man with gasoline poured all over his body. He was holding a lighter, trying to threaten everyone. "Stay away. I want to meet Zachary Nacht now." The staff stayed away, while the bodyguards were on alert. A few higher-ups tried to persuade him. "Mr. Looney, calm down. We can talk this out." "Calm down? Do you know what he did to me? I accidentally offended him and he made me bankrupt overnight. How could I calm down?" Gaston Looney exclaimed. At his words, Charlotte was reminded of her father, Richard. "I still don't understand how Wint Corporation went bust suddenly. We were doing so well. I didn't even get to see Father before he died. Did someone sabotage Father back then?" "Mr. Nacht is here," someone shouted. Charlotte looked up and saw a Rolls-Royce Phantom coming to a stop. The bodyguards swarmed toward the car and cleared a path. Seeing that, the crowd made way for him. Gaston rushed to the car and stood in front of it. "Zachary Nacht, I demand an explanation today," he shouted. Everyone fell silent and gazed at the black Rolls-Royce nervously. The most horrifying and influential person in H City is in that car. Charlotte saw a figure in the backseat looking at his phone, without a care in the world. His driver and bodyguard in the passenger seat remained seated, waiting for his instruction. A heavy silence hung in the air. The expressionless man then made a casual gesture. Immediately, the vehicle sped ahead with every intention to hit Gaston. The onlookers were dumbfounded, let alone Gaston. He froze on the spot in disbelief at the other party's callousness. The car was about to hit him when Charlotte rushed forward and pulled him back. At that, the man in the car looked up and noticed Charlotte. A complicated look flashed across his gaze at the sight of her. As Charlotte and Gaston fell onto the ground together, the crowd collectively gasped in shock. Charlotte's arm was throbbing painfully, but when she looked up, the Rolls-Royce Phantom was long gone. Almost instantly, the security guards rushed over and detained Gaston. "Zachary Nacht, I curse you, you'll die a horrible death," he yelled desperately. Soon, the guards stuffed a cloth into his mouth to stop him from yelling more and dragged him away like a dead dog. Charlotte stared after him with sorrow. "Father told me that the business world is like a battlefield, but it looks like hell to me. A careless mistake will cause one to sink into an endless quicksand." The mysterious man in the Phantom is none other than the devil incarnate who controls everyone's fate. Alas, the poor have to work for the devil, even though they are barely surviving. The moment Charlotte left Divine Corporation's building, she received a text from the bank informing her of the successful transcation to the kindergarten, amounting to $180,000. Her balance in the account was $3,988. Ah, it's expensive to bring up kids nowadays. The triplets, school fees plus meal allowance amount to $180,000. The rest isn't even enough to buy formula milk for them. What should I do? After battling with her own thoughts for a long while, Charlotte turned and entered Divine Corporation once again. "It's just Wesley. He won't do anything in broad daylight, right?" "The man's right. I'm no longer the rich heiress. I need to support my family and the kids. Pride isn't important right now." Charlotte was waiting for the elevator in the lobby when many bodyguards appeared, escorting a man to the VIP elevator. Everywhere that man went, people would bow and greet him politely. "Good morning, Mr. Nacht." As she was far away and not tall enough, she didn't manage to see what he looked like. But that man was obviously Zachary Nacht, the president of Divine Corporation. Why does his figure seem familiar to me? Shaking her head, she chided herself for being starstruck. Why would I be reminded of that gigolo every time I meet a tall and muscular man? He's the president of Divine Corporation and an influential and ruthless man. There's no way he's a gigolo at sultry night. Mr. Nacht, the one who pulled Gaston Looney away, was an onlooker. No. She has just registered as our new employee 5 minutes ago as a secretary on the 13th floor. Her name is Charlotte Wint, reported Ben Nacht. His boss said nothing as he scrawled his signature on a document. The man only replied with a grunt after he was done with his work. Charlotte would be paid $8,000 monthly during her probation period, including basic insurance. Her salary would increase to $10,000 once she passed probation. After going through the entry procedures, Charlotte was counting silently whether her salary was enough for her family's expenses. I'll need to spend $8,000 every month on the kids' formula milk alone. That's not including our expenses. She was deep in worry when a few other employees came to welcome her. "Hello, Charlotte. Welcome to the administration department." "Oh, thank you." Charlotte shook hands with them warmly. This was her first official job, so she knew how important it was to build a good relationship with her colleagues. "As usual, we'll have a welcome party for you. Is that okay?" "Of course, dinner on me." "Huh, I like how smart you are. We'll leave right after work." "Sure." When it was time to get off work, Charlotte had some unfinished work, so her colleagues left and waited for her downstairs. After finishing the paperwork, she grabbed her bag and headed to the elevator. But before she could reach it, the doors closed right in front of her. At the same time, the doors to the VIP elevator parted. She scurried in without hesitation. "This is the president's private elevator. Please leave right away," the bodyguard reprimanded her. "Huh." Before Charlotte could react, the mysterious man in the elevator made a gesture. His bodyguard received his order and stopped driving her out. Charlotte looked back, but immediately turned away. "It's the devil incarnate," Zachary knacked. All of a sudden, it felt like the surrounding temperature had dropped a few degrees. The man was tall and looked like a Greek god. He stood behind her imposingly and exuded an intimidating aura. Charlotte bit her lip hard. She was subconsciously holding her breath. Through the reflection of the mirror in the elevator, she saw the man gazing at her sharply. He looks like a lion staring at its prey. "Hurry, hurry." Charlotte gazed at the number flashing on the elevator screen, hopping to quickly escape this suffocating place. 13, 12, 11, 10. She counted the numbers silently, her heart thumping furiously. Unbeknownst to her, Zachary was inching nearer to her. Ding! Finally, the elevator reached the ground floor. Once the doors opened, she scurried out. She was in such a hurry that she tripped and fell down. Splat! She collapsed face down like a frog. Everyone outside gasped in shock. A few employees who had just exited the normal elevator covered their mouths and sniggered. Charlotte was so ashamed that she wanted to dig a hole and hide in it. She scrambled to her feet clumsily and ran out, covering her face. Behind her, the man looked at her retreating figure as a smirk flitted across his lips. Charlotte thought the welcome party would be a dinner in a restaurant, but it turned out to be a drinking session at Sultry Night. To her surprise, Wesley was also there. "This is the administration department's gathering. Why is someone from the HR department here?" Charlotte wasn't happy about it, but her colleagues were present, so she wasn't about to chase him out rudely. Wesley had already introduced himself to her colleagues. He also ordered bottles of expensive liquor, which were currently placed around the table. A male colleague spoke up. "Mr. Holt, this liquor costs over $8,000. We shouldn't be doing this to our new colleague." "You don't know," Wesley grinned. "Charlotte is an heiress. She's rich. Back then, she could pay for everyone's drinks here in Sultry Night. These are nothing to her." "Oh, seriously?" A few female colleagues got curious. They surrounded Charlotte and bombarded her with questions. "Charlotte, you're an heiress. How unexpected." "No." "Of course you are." Wesley cut her off rudely and snickered. "The only daughter of the richest man in H City, Richard Wint. You've heard of him, right?" "Richard Wint, the one who jumped off a building 4 years ago," a man uttered. "No wonder the surname Wint sounded really familiar to me." "I think I read the news. The Sterlings called off their son's engagement to Ms. Wint, and then she came to Sultry Night and spent the night with a transvestite gigolo." Was that true? Her colleagues were staring at her, their gazes a mixture of curiosity, excitement, and amazement as they waited for her reply. Charlotte felt suffocated by them. Refusing to take it anymore, she stood up to leave. The manager of the administration department, Roy Young, stopped her and chided the rest. "What are you all doing? Is this how you treat our new colleague? We are going to work together in the future, so please stop teasing her." "Okay, sorry." They apologized to Charlotte at once. The moment Charlotte met Wesley's amused gaze, she escaped from the private room without a word. She wanted to escape the past and start her life anew, but the past kept haunting her. "I can never get rid of it, can I?" Charlotte took a deep breath to calm down. "What's wrong? Was that so unbearable?" Wesley came after her and sneered. "How would you survive, huh?" "You did it on purpose." Charlotte glowered at him. "You deliberately hired me and made me treat my colleagues to dinner so I'd be humiliated. You're doing this to take revenge on me." "That's right," Wesley answered, nodding with a grin. "I ordered food and drinks worth a few $100,000 just for you." "Hey," Charlotte gritted her teeth in anger. "I only have $3,000 left in my account. How on earth am I going to foot the bill?" "Don't tell me you can't afford to pay the bill." Wesley came closer to her intentionally. "You can ask for my help. As long as you agree to spend a night with me, I'll foot the bill. With my help, no one will dare to bully you at work and—" Slap, before Wesley could finish, Charlotte gave him a tight slap and yelled, "Scum." Wesley touched his cheek. Instead of getting mad, he chuckled like a pervert. "This is the first time you've touched me. Your hand is so soft." "You are a disgusting piece of shit." Charlotte stalked off angrily. "If you fail to pay the bill today, your colleagues might refuse to befriend you anymore. Imagine them being disgusted by you so much that they start ostracizing you," Wesley shouted behind her. "Do you want to risk losing this job?" Charlotte walked along the hallway in dejection. "I can't lose this job. But where can I get a few $100,000 to foot the bill?" She was deep in thought when a familiar figure appeared in a private room ahead. A man was seated on the sofa with his straight back to her. His white shirt was tied around his waist, revealing a vicious wolf head tattoo and a long scar on his back. "It's him." Charlotte froze in shock. Her heart pounded faster than ever. The last time she saw the man in his car, she was so nervous and had held her breath dazedly. But he left before she could say a word. But now, the man who had destroyed her life was right in front of her eyes. As she gazed at his back, sudden flashbacks appeared in her head. Upon waking up in the hospital back then, she failed to see her father for the last time. She could only look at her father's stiff corpse in the crematorium. At the funeral, her relatives and friends pointed fingers at her, cursing her harshly and chasing her away. As she got pregnant before marriage, people looked down on her when she attended her monthly prenatal checkups at the unremarkable clinic in the countryside. When she gave birth to her bobbies in the hospital, she nearly died of excessive bleeding because she was pregnant with triplets. It was all that man's fault. Fury overwhelmed her heart. She clenched her hands into fists and rushed into the room. "Hey, get out. This is a private area." A man in black standing in the corner spoke sternly. The mysterious man on the sofa raised his hand. At his silent order, the man in black left the room silently. Charlotte was stunned. Oh, so gigolos are rich enough to afford bodyguards now. Looks like he has been enjoying life for the past few years. Charlotte bit back her agitation and inched nearer carefully. "Is it you?" The man buttoned his shirt and turned around slowly. On his face was a black masquerade mask, covering half of his face. The mask exposed his thin lips. His steely and enigmatic gaze gleamed in the dark. There was a gold fire emblem on the top right of the mask, which appeared menacing and wild to her. Charlotte took a step back instinctively. Why is he so imposing? Isn't he just a gigolo? Did I get the man wrong? No. I'm right. There's that unmistakable tattoo. "Don't you remember me?" Charlotte urged. 4 years ago, I was drinking in room K13 when my friend requested a male escort for me, who turned out to be you. We went to Storm Hotel together. There's a red mole on your chest. The man narrowed his gaze at her. We did it 7 times that very night. I'm gonna kill you. Charlotte dashed ahead and raised her arm to give him a slap. The man grabbed her arm swiftly and pushed her onto the sofa. How dare you? Scum! Charlotte leaped onto him like a wildcat, waving her arms around to scratch him. It's all your fault. You ruined my life, she roared. The man placed his hand on her head, keeping her at a distance away. She couldn't reach him even if she waved her hands wildly. He stared at her coolly like she was nothing but a clown. Get the facts right. You were the one who requested my service. It was consensual. You make it seem like I had raped you. Charlotte bristled. You're an unprofessional gigolo. You didn't even put on a condom when you served your client. F***CK you. You deserve to be castrated. The man's gaze turned dangerous. Did you get pregnant? Charlotte stiffened at his question. Her bobbies flashed across her mind. Yes, I got pregnant and gave birth to triplets. But you scum, you've never been a responsible father. Answer me, he demanded. Yes, I got pregnant, Charlotte blurted out. She immediately changed her mind and corrected herself, but I aborted it later. I won't give birth to a shameless gigolo's child. If someone else finds out the kids, father is a male escort at a club, they'll be ridiculed at their kindergarten. No, I must keep it a secret. No one is to find out about this. Good, the man nodded in satisfaction. He reached into his pocket to retrieve something. The cheek of you. I can't believe you're still working here as a gigolo. How many innocent ladies are you going to harm? I'll file a complaint with your manager now. Charlotte stomped away furiously. The man's hand holding the check froze. Furrowing his brows, he left the check in his pocket. At the door, Charlotte received a call from Wesley. Charlotte, if you don't show up, the rest are going to leave. Don't bother showing up for work at Divine Corporation tomorrow. Go to hell. Charlotte hung up, her body shaking in rage. Why are there scums everywhere? They are both disgusting scoundrels. Wait a minute. Suddenly, something occurred to her. That gigolo ruined my life. I can't give up just like that. I can't let him live luxuriously when my kids and I are suffering. At that thought, Charlotte's jaw hardened. She barged into the private room again and demanded, Stupid gigolo, you ruined my life. You must bear the responsibility. The man was sipping on his wine when she made that announcement. Looking up icily, he replied, Oh, how do you propose I do that? By compensating me, Charlotte declared sternly. If it weren't for you, I wouldn't have been this miserable. If it weren't for him, I would have met father for the last time before he died. If it weren't for him, my reputation wouldn't have suffered such an irreversible damage. If it weren't for him, I wouldn't have become a single mother. But my kids are still adorable to me. Wait, I'm demanding money from him now. Be stern and forceful. How much do you want? The man lounged on the sofa arrogantly as he buttoned his shirt up. His sexy abs were gleaming alluringly in the dimly lit room. Charlotte was momentarily dazed by his abs. She swiftly regained her composure and cleared her throat, then held up 3 fingers. 300 million. Ha, if you can pay me 300 million, I'd wake up smiling in my dreams. Charlotte scoffed. She continued, You're just a gigolo. Why are you so cocky? Listen, I demand 3 months of your salary. From today onwards, give me half of your nightly earnings. After all, I can't even afford to buy formula milk for the kids now. Luckily, I bumped into this gigolo when I have nowhere to turn to. I need to fleece him to make him pay for what he had done to me. Also, he needs to bear some responsibility as the kid's father. 3 months will be enough to get me through this hurdle. After my probation period, my salary will increase to 10,000. We will be able to survive then. By then, we will go our separate ways. How much do you think I can earn in one night? The man twirled his glass lightly and shot her an amused glance. What if no one requests for me? You're quite good-looking. If you're willing to work hard, you might end up as Sultry Night's top male escort. Charlotte scanned his figure carefully before her gaze landed on his groin. I hear normal escorts get paid 4,000 to 5,000 for each round of service, and 8,000 to 10,000 for overnight service. You can earn at least 10,000 per night, right? So I just need to give you 5,000 every night. The man's smirk deepened. You're easily satisfied, huh? Of course not, Charlotte retorted hurriedly. I mean, at least 5,000. At least 5,000 every night. To make up for that mistake you did that night, you need to work hard to compensate me, got it? Money isn't a problem, said the man carelessly. Curious, he inquired, but how did you recognize me? Through the wolf head tattoo on your waist. I won't get it wrong. Charlotte was afraid he might deny it. So you don't know what I look like? The man's gaze was penetrating. Duh, Charlotte replied in exasperation. I was so drunk that night that I didn't even know what you looked like. The man sipped on his wine and smiled, saying nothing. Don't try to shirk your responsibility. Otherwise, I'll file a complaint with the manager. Charlotte added, Oh, I heard you're also a transvestite. If they find out about that, you'll lose your job for sure. The man stiffened and narrowed his eyes dangerously. Transvestite. Charlotte harumphed. Are you scared? She took a pen from her bag and wrote out a simple contract. Here, I've made it all clear. From today onwards, you need to compensate me with half of your daily salary for 3 months. Sign here and stamp your thumbprint here. It's a done deal. She stuffed the pen in his hand. Am I the only gigolo you got? The man gazed at the scrawny words on the contract and raised a brow. Don't tell me you have a stack of these contracts at home. Are you crazy? Do you think I'm that desperate? Sleeping with you was an accident. You were the only man I've ever slept with. Charlotte blurted out angrily. When she realized what she had just said, her face flushed in embarrassment. The corners of the man's lips lifted in a smirk. He signed on the contract without a word, but his signature was an illegible squiggle at the bottom of the page. Charlotte thought that wasn't enough and pulled his palm to her. She bit on his thumb, hard. When a drop of blood trickled out, she stamped his finger on the contract immediately. Now, the contract was valid and Charlotte was chuffed. There's no going back on your words now. All right, give me your salary for today. I haven't started working for tonight yet. He pulled her into his embrace and wrapped his arm around her slender waist. Brushing his lips across her cheek, he breathed, Why don't you be my first client for today? I'll give you a 50% discount. Don't even think about it. Charlotte struggled out of his embrace and pushed him aside. Stay away from me. From now on, your job is to work hard and pay your debt. Are you that willing to let me sell my body? The man inquired, staring deep into her eyes. You're just my cash cow. Why wouldn't I be willing? Charlotte whipped her phone out. Let's exchange numbers to stay in contact. The man took her phone and entered his number. He was about to save his name when Charlotte snatched it away from him, saving his name as Gigolo in debt. Upon seeing that, his brows snapped together in displeasure. I'll send you my back account. Remember to bank in your salary before 12 a.m. every day, got it? Reminded Charlotte as she typed furiously on her phone. Ding, the man received a text. He clicked into the text and saw the account number she had just sent him. He smirked. This is interesting. Right then, Charlotte's phone began to ring. Seeing it was Wesley, she answered it and yelled in frustration, Stop pushing me. I don't have money to foot the bill. I don't want the job at Divine Corporation anymore. Will that do? She hung up promptly, her face flushed with anger. As she had just lost her new job, she slumped onto the sofa in dejection. Spotting the wine glass in front of the man, she grabbed it and finished the wine in one gulp. Charlotte let out a burp and complained, It's all your fault. I've just lost my job because of you. It's hard to find a job nowadays. I can't believe that despicable man did that to me. The man asked. Did someone at Divine Corporation frame you? You won't understand. Charlotte was about to ignore him when something occurred to her. Oh, can you pay a bill around a few $100,000 here? Sure. Great. Charlotte told the man to pay the bill, which was over $183,000. Her heart was aching over the ridiculously expensive bill, but she had to keep her job. After all, she still had to support her kids. Thanks, I'll deduct the amount from your compensation. She went to her colleagues and informed them. I've settled the bill. Did you have fun tonight? Yes, thank you, Charlotte. Her colleagues cheered. Did you seriously foot the bill? I heard it was over $180,000. A colleague inquired in disbelief. Yes, it was pretty expensive. I maxed out a few cards to pay the bill. I'll be eating bread for the next few months. Charlotte let out a bitter chuckle. But it's worth it as long as you had fun tonight. Well, a few other colleagues felt bad for her and glanced at Wesley. Charlotte's being humble. The money isn't even enough for her to buy a bag. There's no way she'd maxed out her cards. Wesley snickered. But anyway, thank you. Next time it's on me. Charlotte was upset at how despicable the scum was, but she couldn't retort as she needed this job. Ignoring him, she sent her colleagues off. Charlotte, I drove here. Let me give you a ride back. It's all right. I can take a cab, thank you, though. When Charlotte came out of the private room, the man was no longer at the bar. He must be with a client now. He just can't stay idle, huh? She sent him a text. I'm leaving now. Work hard and earn more money. The faster you pay your debt, the faster you'll be set free. In the room, when Zachary received her text, the corners of his mouth turned up. What a foolish yet adorable woman. Mr. Nacht, Pardis has just shown up. Ben, his bodyguard, came in and reported. I've sent someone to keep an eye on him. We'll find out who he'll contact. Remember, don't alert him. Got it. As Charlotte didn't receive a reply from him, she panicked. Is he trying to go back on his word? I'm still nearby. If he seriously has that intention, I can go back and look for him. She immediately called that number. Zachary was about to leave when his phone rang. He smiled subconsciously when he saw who it was. Hello. Why didn't you reply to my text? Are you trying to escape? Charlotte demanded. I'm busy earning money to pay my debt, explained Zachary, all immersed in his role.